There was a time when space was off limits. It was not a destination. It was a frontier, guarded by governments, unlocked by massive rockets, and reserved only for the few who met the strictest definitions of astronaut. But somewhere between science fiction and engineering reality, the impossible began to shift. The question changed from "can we go?" to "who gets to go next?" And now, for the first time in human history, space is being marketed, not as a mission, not as a sacrifice, but as a service, an adventure, a product. Welcome to the era of space tourism, a billion-dollar bet that what was once a dream for humanity can now be sold to individuals. That the most extreme experience imaginable, leaving Earth itself, can become a ticketed journey, complete with a view, a suit, and a return flight home. But beneath the glitz, beneath the branding and billionaires, lies a deeper question. What does it really mean to buy your way into orbit? And what happens when leaving the planet becomes just another vacation? It wasn't long ago that getting to space required a decade of training, a flawless physical, and a lifetime of dedication. Today, a few hours of preparation and a few $100,000 can be enough. The transition didn't happen overnight. It was decades in the making. Private companies emerged slowly, first as contractors, then as innovators, and finally, as competitors. They learned how to reuse rockets, lower costs, and streamline the launch process. The capsule became more than a vehicle. It became a cabin, a showroom, a stage for selfies and zero-gravity acrobatics. Suborbital space flights became testable, repeatable, marketable. And so, space was no longer only about exploration. It was about experience. Three names now dominate the story of space tourism. Blue Origin, with its sleek, fully automated New Shepard rocket, designed to carry passengers just past the Kármán line, the official edge of space. A few minutes of microgravity, a panoramic view, and a descent cushioned by parachutes. Virgin Galactic, which merges aviation and spaceflight into a single concept. Its mothership carries a space plane to high altitude, where it ignites and arcs towards space. The cabin, lined with windows, becomes a floating theater. And then SpaceX, a company that didn't stop at space tourism, it redefined it. With orbital flights around Earth, with a plan to send civilians to the moon, with a long-term vision of colonizing Mars. Each company offers a different trajectory in ambition, altitude, and philosophy, but all of them share the same promise: space, not as an unreachable realm, but as a place you can go, if the price is right. Space tourism is not a stunt. It is a business model, and the numbers are staggering. In 2021, the space economy exceeded $400 billion, and the tourism slice is poised to expand dramatically. Analysts estimate the suborbital tourism market alone could bring in more than $3 billion per year within a decade. Hundreds of wealthy customers have already booked flights. Some have paid quietly. Others, celebrities, influencers, tech moguls, have posted the countdown on social media. For many, the appeal is status. For others, legacy. And for some, it is genuine awe, a chance to see Earth as no human should be able to see it, unless they were born at exactly the right moment in history. The industry is booming, but it is also evolving. As technology improves, prices may fall. New models may emerge. Orbital hotels, point-to-point rocket travel, zero-gravity weddings. And with each new launch, the dream inches closer to normal, or at least to luxury. For all the marketing gloss and financial calculations, something deeper draws people to space. It's the view. It's the overwhelming, humbling experience of looking down on Earth, on oceans and continents, on storms and lights, on a planet that seems small and alone in a cosmic sea. Astronauts call it the overview effect, a shift in consciousness, a sudden understanding of the fragility and interconnectedness of life on Earth. Many tourists, even after just minutes in suborbital flight, report feeling it. It is not a thrill ride. It is not just fun. It is revelation, the kind that rewires you, that alters how you see your home, your species, your purpose, and maybe that is the product space tourism is really selling. Not zero gravity, but gravity of meaning. But wonder comes with a price. Spaceflight remains inherently dangerous. Rockets may be more reliable than ever, but they are still powered by explosive chemistry. There is no margin for error. And as more untrained civilians enter the realm of launch and re-entry, the risks multiply. Even suborbital flights expose passengers to G-forces, disorientation, and motion sickness. Orbital flights carry radiation exposure and long-duration effects we still don't fully understand. Beyond personal risk, there's the environmental cost. Rockets burn fuel at incredible rates. Some use kerosene, others use solid propellants. All release emissions into the upper atmosphere, where they linger and contribute to climate effects that we barely monitor. Space tourism is sold as futuristic, but it may also accelerate some of the oldest problems we've ever created: pollution, inequality, unchecked ambition. And that raises a question that has yet to be answered. Can we leave Earth responsibly? For now, space tourism is exclusive by design. The cheapest ticket costs more than most people earn in a decade. The most expensive trips, like SpaceX's private orbital missions, exceed $50 million per person. This isn't just a vacation. It's a signal, a badge of extreme wealth, a new kind of class division, not measured in land or yachts, but in altitude. Some critics argue that this trend mirrors the worst of our society: vast privilege chasing spectacle while the planet burns. Others counter that all technology begins this way. Cars, airplanes, computers, cell phones, all started as luxuries before becoming essential, accessible, ubiquitous. But even if space tourism someday becomes affordable, the question will remain: who decides where we go? And who gets left behind? Despite its limitations, space tourism may be the foundation of something far more significant. Reusable rockets, pioneered by companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin, reduce the cost of access to space for everyone. Every tourist flight funds the next stage: satellites, science missions, Mars plans. Orbital hotels may become training grounds for deep space missions. Commercial spacecraft may test life support systems, human endurance, and station design in ways that benefit future explorers. Space tourism is not the end goal. It is the scaffolding. And those who fly now may be remembered not for their luxury, but for helping to build what comes next. There is another effect of space tourism, subtle but profound. It changes the narrative. For decades, space was defined by Cold War tension, flag planting, and scientific goals. It was something we did for reasons of survival, pride, or national identity. But now, the story is shifting. Space is becoming personal. It's about memory, perspective, the desire to see the world from above, not to conquer it, but to understand it. Children growing up today are not just imagining astronauts in bulky suits on lunar missions. They are watching artists, actors, teachers float in space. That shift may inspire a generation not only to dream about space, but to expect it. And with those expectations, society itself may evolve. Because when space becomes normal, everything else changes too. Space tourism asks us to imagine what it's like to to let go of the only home we've ever known, if only for a few minutes, and return with new eyes. It is not about speed, or status, or spectacle. At its core, it's about distance, not from Earth, but from our habits, our assumptions, our limits,